Marshall, Will, and Holly on the routine expedition. Met the greatest earthquake ever known. All right, my fellow agents, and it is I, X7. Welcome back to Zenorama, the podcast of heroes and monsters. I am your host, and we are also returning to the Land of the Lost. We're going to go through season 2 and quite possibly season 3. These are episodes I have not seen. I don't think I've seen season 3 for 30 years when it was on in compacted form. I want to say sci-fi when it was spelled sci-fi and not sci-fi. So this will be almost like watching it again like watching it again, brand new, and it'll be a lot of fun, I think, and we'll go from there. So before we get too much further into this, and I forget anything else, please like, share, subscribe, leave a comment. Let me know what you think about season 2. It doesn't have quite the rep that season 1 does, and it certainly doesn't have the reputation that season 3 has. But I think it's going to be fun. So let me know in the comments. Anyway, the episodes are set up a little differently, of course, because it's a new writers, new directors. We'll go from there. So let's roll. Marshall, Will, and Holly on the routine expedition. Met the greatest earthquake ever known. High on the rapids, it struck their tiny raft and plunged them down 1,000 feet below to the land of the lost. Like I said, this first season or the second season I haven't watched for 30 years probably. I had them all recorded on VHS tape, but they were all time compressed or edited. So meh. So our first episode here is, interestingly enough, we know it's going to be Pakuni in it because they get featured. Our first episode is called Tar Pit. It was aired on September 6, 1975. We were all very excited that we would get another season of Land of the Lost, even though we did watch the Marshall family, leave the Land of the Lost in the last episode of the first season, right? So there was a lot of talk about how this went down, what happened. Most of us, even at the tender age of 11 or 10 or 11, 10 and a half, as I would have been way back then in Fossil Bed, decided that these were adventures that probably happened before they left because it didn't really matter. I mean, they'd been there. They said they'd been there a long time. So smart thinking on David Gerald's part, probably, and Larry Niven. But overall, it was good. I mean, these are good episodes. These first 3 are good episodes. So Tar Pit, it's really easy. What happens is there's a tar pit now in the Land of the Lost, which we never saw in the first season, but things change because they got to add more stuff, and they've been around. Our family, the Marshalls, have gotten more things here. They've built stuff, potted plants, added some decorations, and the Pakuni, Chaka, has learned he can paint, and he's painting Taw. But Spot comes barreling through there, a very large Coelophysis. And then there's Dopey, who's got to go see. Apparently, Dopey's very curious. You'd think he was a cat. He has not grown at all since the last time, when we now know that baby dinosaurs probably grew exponentially at their young age. There's the tar pit. Spot has embedded himself in there, which is bad. Would be really bad for Spot. Dopey gets stuck a little bit, then he gets really stuck. And Taw does not want Chaka to leave his artwork there, which is pretty good, all things considered, but because he hears Dopey beeping because he's in distress. Now, in my mind, I remembered that Grumpy came along to try to, eat Dopey while he was in the tar pit. As we'll see, my mind was wrong. I did remember the ending, though. It was pretty obvious, but it was well done. But Philip Bailey here, Chaka, does the old "Oops, I dropped the paint and I have to go get more." So they have this big discussion, and now they're both stuck. But Spot, with his little predator brain, figures a way out somehow. So this tar pit is weird. You'd think they would have just like cordoned it off or something. The marshals at least tried to block these animals from getting in there, but unless it was Grumpy, which they do wish. I wouldn't wish Grumpy to fall into the tar pit. Chaka goes to get help. Now look, they've got new stuff here, uh, tools, utensils. So they've been making a life for themselves. There's Grumpy. Pardon me. There's Dopey just beeping away, and they try to get him out, and they're going to lasso him, but that doesn't work because he keeps seeing it. So they bribe him with food. That works. But they're not strong enough. The rope snaps, and Grumpy sinks further. Or not Grumpy. I don't know why I keep saying Grumpy. Chaka cries because he thinks he pushed Dopey into the tar pit, and Holly consoles him. So there's the puppet where they have the rope around him, and they're trying to feed him because he's hungry. This is just a random beetle here that shows up, and Rick says, "I haven't seen one of those for a long time." Maybe foreshadowing? You just never know. So the mood is still here pretty serious. There's lighter moments because you can't have it dark and serious all the time, but it's still not treating kids, it's still treating kids like they're smart. We learn what a block and tackle is. We learn that Ta really likes to have his picture painted because he's an egotist. There's your block and tackle. And they try to pull him out that way by using that, but of course, Dopey's just, even as a baby, he's probably like, we'll call him 2 tons. And Ta, being kind of a jerk, just says, "Bye bye, bye bye, bye bye, Dopey." Kind of a jerk. But Chaka goes and gets Emily, which is why didn't they think that of that in the first place? Love these shots here at night. Whether Emily's his actual mom or not, and I kind of think she is, she's the only other Brontosaurus excelsus in the entire region or the entire land of the lost, as far as we know. There probably were more dinosaurs, but of course, budgetary concerns stopped us from seeing a lot of them. I mean, so they have to scare Alice to get her to pull him out, and she does. This is the mother and child reunion. All right, so wait, hold please while we hear a little more of the opening.
To the land of the lost, to the land of the lost.
Okay, so here we have the Zarn, who would make more than one appearance. I think even in the next 2 episodes, or next 2 seasons, pardon me. But I'm not 100% sure because I really haven't seen the 3rd season in ages. I thought he was in there, but I'm looking as we go here. We don't find out. Anyway, we'll discover together. I thought he was in the 3rd season, but let me know if I'm wrong in the comments, of course. And if you've watched this far, thank you so much. So the Zarn, written by Holly's, they've made themselves a little clay oven of some kind, and got cups. Well, although those cups look like they're plastic, which is probably in there, but decorations. They've made it homey, and this is it's more of a Rick-centric episode, which is good because we know the characters. We can go on to see them doing things separately or to different combinations. So Rick and Will are out looking at the top of the mountain ranges there. I guess they're looking for a way out. Having a discussion there, and then Spot comes zooming up there, and of course there's Grumpy. This is a great shot of him running up the side of a mountain. I mean, both of them. So they jump down into that fog pit, which was they've never explored before. Once again, a new thing in the Land of the Lost. I do have a map of Land of the Lost. I'll have to put that in there at some point in time, maybe next week, because it is Thursday and live action Thursday. So it's a really strange looking place. They hear this, and Rick or Will feels his mind being probed, but doesn't know what it is. But they see this strange ship full of lights. Then this woman shows up, just appears, which of course would have been more obvious, even though to probably 10 and a half year old eyes, I thought that she probably was not human. But she calls herself, I forget what she calls herself. But she tells Rick that she's from his hometown, Indianapolis, Indiana. There's the Zarn, who reacts to emotion. Holly's ready to go, but she's a little. She doesn't find this woman, and I don't remember her name. I should have written it down. Like, where'd you find her? But Rick is so enamored of having a grown up to talk to that he just jibber jabbers the whole night, and she knows everything, and because they've read his mind. And then she reads Holly's mind and has the same problems and issues, but the Zarn calls her out. And Rick goes and follows them. And now they've got the prickly sensation of their minds being read. So Rick says, give her back. He's like, she's not yours. But he reacts to strong emotions and it causes him physical pain. So she's like, nope, can't do it. Don't touch me. And she blows up. And there's her scraps. It's like Rick hit her with Denji End. Or the magnet end. Jeez. Suddenly bleeding here. Don't know how that happened. I blame one of the cats. Sorry, I digress. But there he's holding her parts. Parts is parts, And the Zarn just laughs evilly. Now, why they didn't ever think to bring Enoch and the Zarn together at a meeting of the minds is interesting. But the family's good and consoles him. And there we go, right into the next episode, which is Fair Trade. This was broadcast September 20th. The Zarn was broadcast September 13th. They're just a week apart, surprisingly enough, right? Every Saturday morning on NBC. It's still, even though this season is a little different, the flavor is a tiny bit different, it's still way better than most everything else that was on Saturday mornings. So the Sleestack are looking to trap a pig. They've even got a primitive. How they make a periscope is beyond me. But there's our pig in multicolors, a big pig, and not one that was from Australia that opened up their song. Breakaway opened up for Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, which we will have to talk about. I'll have to watch the third one. Ta is afraid of the pig and threatens to bowl it down, but he is not the ball or even the rock. They just painted things like the chickens are different colors and the pig's a different color. Like that would make it seem different. Just made it look like they got painted. Will's got sharpening a knife there, a homemade knife. And Holly's got the pendant there that her older self gave her. And she's the only one that can really use it, but everyone has one. I like the way they shoot it so she concentrates, she can see him. Ta wants the knife because he's a thief. Ta is the only Pakuni in this episode, which I find interesting. They didn't do the other two. Rick falls into the tiger pit that the Sleestack set up for him, and of course they capture him because Grumpy barrels through and gets caught. Well, he's chasing Spot. So you're doing a whole. They go through it 3 times. It's like Looney Tunes. I mean, with them racing in and out of the camera. But of course, Grumpy there gets caught, and I'm going to show you a scene from here because it's a really nice bit of stop motion animated business. We will start right here with this particular.
But I know someone who can.
Enoch, come on, let's find him.
This is the part that's funny. Look at Spot back there behind the tree, peeking at Grumpy. Doing a sneaky little sneak. And then, chompy chomp. So the music's still the same, as we can tell. And there is Enoch, who is annoyed that he's being bothered again. So the point about it being these episodes being in between the first and the 17th episode of the first season makes sense because he's still not friendly with the marshals. He doesn't want to help. But Will says, well, pretty much guilt manipulates him into help. So off he goes. He wants to go to the Council of Skulls or Hall of Skulls or Hall of Justice Skulls. I don't know what, but there is a, now this is new, a Sleestak with a little adornment on him, like he's an older one or something. So he sees, they show Enoch what's going on and that they're going to, you can tell they're going to feed Rick to the babies, which would be very unpleasant for all considered. And probably humans are stringy. So Enoch bows out and says, okay. He says, but he goes back and says, all right, I've talked him into, if you get the pig, they'll trade him for your dad. Because the pig's 400 pounds and Rick is 180. So they're like, oh, just go get him. So they have to figure out now how to do it. Grumpy's left because they should thank Spot, but they know where the hole is. To get them to the underground chamber, they need some bait. They can't use fruit because the pig can eat that whenever he wants. Apparently, pigs and wild pigs are not pleasant creatures. They are aggressive, and they will come after you with if they see you. They run rampant in the south, as you know. But they're using Taw. They trade everything to Taw, his vest and his knife and the mirror that they used to signal, which they really don't need anymore because they've got their little medallions or pendants. And they hoist him up, and he's so busy looking at everything that he doesn't know he's bait. And they've got their pig trap ready to go. And the pig comes running after. Apparently, he likes the taste of Pakuni and falls in. We don't see him fall in. The pig wasn't hurt. No pigs were harmed in the filming of this episode or taping of this episode. They jump down, and off they go. They bring the pig, they get and the Sleestak live up to their word. So we even get a little character development, a little bit for the Sleestak. They're not quite as horrible and awful as they were and terrifying in that first season. So it's nice. These are 3 good episodes. I have to say that they hold up pretty well. They're not as sci-fi oriented. They're more of survival. This is how we live our life day to day. But I like that. That's a good sign. I'm looking forward to watching the rest of this season. I'm still not sure about season 3, but we'll see. I'm doing 3 at a time. So there's our episodes. Oh, and then let's just listen. We'll go back a little bit here. Let's see if we can. I'll just listen to this.
Let's stop here for a minute. I guess I don't have to tell you that I'm pretty proud of both of you, do I?
I wouldn't be so proud of us if I were you.
What are you talking about, Will?
Well, the pig weighed 400 pounds, and you weigh 180 pounds. Pound for pound, I think we made a rotten deal.
Get out of here.
That's just a pretty clever thing. So there's our episode for tomorrow. And yes, I found this a very charming movie. That is Julie Newmar as Stupefying Jones, and she lives up to her billing. But that is our agent. That is our episode for today, my fellow agents. And until our next assignment, this is X7, who has sang this song with Will and Holly Marshall. Thank you, Kathy and Wesley. And until our next assignment, this is X7. Signing off and phasing out.
When I look all around, I can't believe the things I've found. Now I need to find my way. I'm lost, find me. long. Living in the land of the long.